Just a quick one, just to put another video on here, up to date video. Basically, 9 years. How long ago did I invent that? How long ago did I come up with that? Oh, well, quite a long time ago. Kind of started all a long time ago when I worked for Sky Engineer, my first job, and then I went to this festival where I met the kindness fences and they had buses, and I thought, wheels to help people. So then come up with this thing after meeting these people. Squatter was squatting a place in Cholton, and the Guardians took it and they evicted people. And I was like, that's not really cool. There's an old guy with a dog. They should at least give like a percentage to him. And the Hive building, homage to the wars, being pretty pathetic. But you can't take that away from me. Laura Rickner on YouTube, which is a public domain platform. But you can see my thunderclap. Thunderclap was the first attempt at it, which doesn't highlight the fact that you can integrate security into that. Like I said, safe protection training for people with sofa surfing apps. Real community brand. Rinse my brain. Tired me out. I think, I think a brain has got so much electrolytes maybe in it. It's got electrolytes. And you get to a certain age, and I'm only nearly not even 40. But because I invested so much time and effort into this, and especially talking to people about it, I went to Choir of No Name, Streetwise Opera, Kabul Citizens Crisis, and there's just like, and throughout that time, I told every single person about it that I come across, because I was like, well, strictly speaking, it's not a profit thing anyway. It's about people owning their own businesses, just like a franchisee. The actual head office place, although you could pay directly into a fund as a charity, it would be more a case of the people out raising their own revenue for themselves are raising it directly into their bank account for them to run their branch of the business, like a KFC, like any other restaurant that is part of a franchise. So, Arrival Prime, it would have advertising space on the van, and it would have an adapted vehicle wet room, which would be like that would be like when you go and you buy a franchise, they fit the shop out exactly the same with brands like McDonald's or whatever. Every shop is the same. The vans would be the same. It would be branded. You would get the brand on the side of the van, and it's all in the original one. That was just the bones of this basic idea. And then since then, I put more and more effort in it, and the more people I met, the more I was like, this is so practical. It would help with all these people linked up. And the original idea came about because Sky engineers have handheld devices, so they go to each job. Now people can book in jobs. You like as concerned citizens, you can say, "Oh, there's a person here." You can ring up a number, and they'll just distribute it from a head office. So it would have to have a little bit of maybe government funding. Even would do just that part of it, the call centre thing. So you go, and it's not like police could be doing this. At one point, I did think that it was more a public funding thing, like they should actually be doing that naturally. But obviously, you haven't got social workers that are going to create CVs and do everything that job centres do. And the other thing about it that was different was I thought that you could get hostels like Belushes and hotels that don't have rooms. I met a guy recently called Ben Westwood as well, and he was saying how when he was home, have a hotel for the night and stuff like that. But then some hotel chains are happy to actually just facilitate people when they do have an empty hotel room. And you could argue that it would make being homeless quite attractive. And maybe it's not about that. But another part of it would be trying to encourage travelling. Like literally sleeping under the stars in a vineyard or great anywhere that they do fruit picking or woofing would be great. If the person is prepared to pay for each a client's travel and give them below minimum wage and treat it like a holiday and learn a little bit and maybe get a basic NVQ out of it in how to or some kind of training, then it's a little agricultural qualification and you've earned some money and you've gotten out of the capitals and the towns. If you could encourage the community to be more like that as a farming level for the countries disimpoverished and disempowered, then you're opening up travel to them. There's nothing like travelling to broaden the perspective of any human being. The ones that sit on the floor begging are boring. And like when I do see them, I say, "Hey, nice day at the office," because they're just seeing the world in one very narrow-sighted way. They're not really like opening up their perspectives, and they're quite comfortable doing that. But at the same time, yeah, it's the epitome of like visionless and lazy, really. Oh, there's a city. I'm just gonna sit here like that. But anyway, if you had these vehicles around, you'd be able to take people to places, certain venues that do throw out food all the time. They do throw out food all the time. If you had hive buildings, you could use those as places where you can collect food, not as food banks, but they would be there. Sofa surfing, yes, short term, long term, week ones, whatever. And then the people that are doing this, I'd said there should be an award scheme. So the amount of people that the person's helped, they would go on and be like, this person, like the Oscars, mate, but public domain. And each franchisee owner, how many people they helped, what they've done, what their course was, where they got them to. And yeah, you have got the basic things like St Mungo and rehousing people. That would come into it because some people do just want to live in the city in the basics. They don't want to think that big and big and big and big and whatever. So it would still, at the very most basic of levels, be hooking up all the charities that exist already and taking them and saying, ingratiating them to all of them, saying, well, these are the places. This one has a meal on a Thursday. This one is this. This is the arts world, and they can help you back with the basic things in this and this and this for the people that aren't too clever and need help. People have breakdowns and they need someone to do things like the basics. But then ultimately, yeah, you're a social worker franchisor and you're getting someone up on their feet again and off the street. But that's one side of the job. And another side of the job, I would say, would be like outside the courtrooms when you see a lot of, I don't know, it comes up now and again, forced adoptions. Why they happen, I don't know. When people are in a bad relationship or in a bad place, or yes, maybe potentially using drugs. I understand that the concerns of authorities, but authorities can also be, from a lot of people's perspective, grossly egoic, out just on a wage, not really very empathetic of a mother or father that is in a compromised position at a certain point in time, so they force the adoption, and then years down they can't see their kids. Doesn't matter if it's 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, it's still a tragedy if a parent can't see their child. I'm sure there's plenty of other children that lose their parents or literally are not no longer on the planet to be doing that kind, pulling them stunts on people that are still alive, because it's done out of a very spiteful kind of lack of faith place. It's not believing in a person's capability to turn their life around at some point in the next probably like 16 to, up to anything to 18 years, because the kid then can choose to see the parent. But that's going to be 10 years of torment for quite a few people that turn their lives around. So I was thinking, if you had this public funded entity on the street, Arrival Prime, Bosch branded, it's very much like a cash cow, like Ellen DeGeneres. You that girls handing out cash all the time. People that need legal advice that's free is absolutely useless. It's not really anything. But if you had a public domain platform, it would also highlight injustices that go on everywhere, every day, I'm sure, in a sense of people not getting the right help. So it's a port of call, port of contact for the community, and it's like Citizens Advice Bureau, everything all in one. And it's linking the top domains to the bottom domains. It's like when you look over, everybody's going mad for Ellen at the minute, and they have been for years, because she links up celebrity community. It's Oscars. Yeah, it's Oscars meets the street, let's be honest. It's bridging that divide of class, divide of the lower ends of the community getting abused by authorities. For example, if you've got a neighbour that hates you and you live in a council flat, you might be fucked royally. The dynamics that go down in places, they're actually quite maddening and unnatural. Like, I drove past a council place the other day, and the music was like decibels. I was like, wow, people live to live above and below that all the time, and I bet the person might have mental health issues or whatever. And if you've got kids and you start arguments with these people, who knows? That, like, the things that arise out of these abnormal situations where the pressure's piled on and the parents are really disempowered. That's something I feel passionately about, actually. People getting picked on in council flats, because my family themselves come from a council estate, and the person below was of a certain calibre, dealing drugs, certain elements, certain things go on in council flats, and it's just a dynamic that isn't normal, because people have the higher moral foreground. They start throwing around, oh, I can smell weed coming from that parent's flat, or this or this or this, under times of pressure, and then next thing you know, they've got authorities laying in, and they can be quite ugly entities in some cases. In uniforms, this is like, lifting the vow. It's not just because they went from a uniform because they want to be good people. Oh, I want to do a good job and I want good people. They've actually got unresolved mental issues, some of them have got complexes, some of them are attracted to authority just to abuse that authority, just to hurt people. So basically, I've seen these sides of the system. Being in a uniform has been like, oh, I don't want to work alongside people that abuse their authority or their power. So it's like those positions. I'm just saying they go unnoticed every single day if you give them the right public platform, and it's very much a media thing. It's a media creation. Rival Prime out there for you. If you think you're being done wrong, then there will be more than enough avenues to highlight and spotlight where you think that's happening and why the fuck it's happening. And that could appeal to just about everyone. To peer into your life, to have a big support network of people that can research and bosh for you. LinkedIn, proper LinkedIn. So that was Arrival Prime. It's a community design that, in a way, I'm not trying to sound egoic, I didn't mean to sound like that, and it started off as a small seed of just like a wills to just help people as a very practical thing to take people place to place, and maybe move a bit of furniture if some people had to move quick, or do little odd jobs and things in the community as a first port of call for just little silly things. But then it turned into like, actually no, it's a brand that is kind of like leveling a certain playing field for people that are really, really poor. Like, I mean, even council houses. Like, my cousin moved out of council house because his mum had died, and it'd been in the family for 3 generations. And he left a bed in there, and they wanted £300 to remove a base of a bed and a wardrobe, £300 from someone that lives in a council flat. So I'm just saying that sometimes even councils, which are for the lowest rung of the community, still don't always service them very well. So if you had this kind of thing, then it's just distribution of wealth. And if you're to believe Drake and the people that are in the higher echelons of fame, then they want to do that. They want to do that willingly. And this is a safe way of doing it. Having people create the only industry where a social worker can't own their own business. It'll be the first time for that. And it would be a case of, yes, as a big entity, it would raise funds like a charity, also subsidised by the government, but also the people have their own advertising space, so they're making their own bank balance directly. That is their business. But it would also be some, if they didn't reach their targets, they would obviously be subsidised. And also it would be a place that people of a hierarchy can make donations to, because they know in good faith that should be going to a good cause. And a very practical one. And it's just an alternative. We need alternatives in life, and that's it. So that was Arrival Prime, and I get bored talking about it. There will come a time when I sort of go, oh, I think I've done enough enough from like in a creative sense for developing it and trying to communicate it, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, but over the years, like to the point like, is anybody listening? Because you have to get permission to film in charities where they might be go, Arrival Prime, power the people right in time. I wanted to do it like a little advert and then relaunch it on a crowd fundraiser, because I just wanted to, even if people don't have any faith in it whatsoever, I just wanted to adapt a vehicle, put the logo on it and have it out there, because it was going to have a novelty donation point, as in like a basketball thing for kids to throw money at and things. So it would just be like a big piggy bank on the street. Not a big piggy bank, but you know what I mean. Like, well, there's, and it would be like, it's sort of like a monument to always permanently being forever creative. Like, don't rest on your laurels. Don't say that that's it, because from the minute I got to this little globe, I was like, I don't know why I'm in four walls and I'm away from my mum. Like at a young age, like why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here? Mummy's girl. But it's like that. I know it's a really simple sentiment, but it's just like, why do people have onus over this being this entity? Why do people have so much and they have it straight away? We pay our taxes and we just go, okay. And some people love it and some people feel it and some people are, we're all different. So that's where arrival prime comes from. That desire, that want applications, less school, making your school dates when you want your kids in school, when you don't, parents meeting up, having an app, doing their history teaching, going to different museums, doing it if they don't want it, alternatives, bigger thinking. That's where this come from. But if you like the idea, please, by all means, Laura Rickner, Lars the Dancer, Arrival Prime. It was originally called Hands on Wheels and it's under a thunderclap on my YouTube. But it will happen one day, and even if it doesn't, please, a little piece of design art just to keep the faith. Ah.